friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a very special reading vlog. We are attempting to read 7 books in 7 days. This is my absolute favorite reading challenge that I do. I have been doing this over on my Instagram account for probably, I want to say 5 years, and I feel like I did it like every quarter for a couple of years and then kind of had to take a little bit of a break. But I actually don't think I've done this challenge at all this year, and it's already October. So I was feeling the itch and I decided to run this challenge again over on my Instagram account, and I've decided to vlog it for YouTube. So here we are. We are currently on day 1, and I've already gotten a little bit of a head start on today's book, which is great because it is a weekend and I feel like I do read less on the weekends than I do on weekdays, primarily because I have a family, we have lots of activities and things to do, so I tend to read less, but I am doing well so far, and I will talk about the book that I'm currently reading in a minute, but I quickly want to talk through kind of like the parameters of this challenge and what I'm feeling to read for the week. So we read 7 books in 7 days. I try to read 1 book a day. If I get a little bit ahead, if I finish a book early, I do try to start the next book that same day, just to like give myself a little bit of flexibility. But we do read 1 book a day for 7 days, and I try not to read like straight novellas for this. You absolutely can. There are very little rules, I'll say, on this challenge, but for myself, it really needs to feel like a challenge. I know I can read a novella in a day, so I tried to pick books between 250 and 350 pages, and I think all of the books on my potential TBR kind of land in that range. I have like 9 or 10 books that I have my eye on for this week. I like to give myself a little bit of structure, but also some flexibility because I'm not sure, like I'm kind of a mood reader, so I like to give myself a little bit of options when I'm picking my books for the day. I also try to be strategic in the length of books that I read on each day based on what I have going on that day. So as I said, it is the weekend, and so I picked one of my shorter books for today, which is 300 pages. So I'll say I'm not even going to 250. It's like 300 to 350 is kind of the range for this week's TBR. These are all books that I'm very excited to read, and some of them have been on my TBR for quite a long time, and I've been saving them for a 7 in 7 reading challenge, and then others have kind of crept up like very recently. So we kind of have a little bit of a range here on our TBR, which is very exciting. As I said, I have about 9 or 10 books on my TBR, and I'm not sure which ones I'm going to pick up, but I'll let you know every morning which book I decide to read for that day and kind of give you my brief thoughts and how I'm feeling by the end of the day reading that book. I think my opinion about the books will be different than if I spent my time like reading this over days, because you are just trying to like read as many pages as you can in one day. So sometimes that means I love a book more than I normally would, and sometimes it means I love a book less than I normally would. So I'm kind of giving the books a disservice by doing this challenge, but ultimately, like, it's fun for me and it's fun for my friends to read 7 books in 7 days together, so I'm fine with that. Today, I am reading My Favorite Bad Decision by Elizabeth Roark. I absolutely love Elizabeth O'Rourke's writing, and I think she is not as popular as I wish she would be. This is the first book in a new series, and I think it's the only book in this series out. The series is called The Favorites, but after reading 30% of this book, I automatically want to read every book in this series. This book is 298 pages, and I'm having such a good time with it so far. We're following Kit. She is our FMC, and she's kind of a rich girl, but she's got a ton of depth to her that you kind of discover as you get into the book. She is currently working for her father. I think he's like a media mogul, and for the last year she's kind of been bouncing around in all of the departments working for him, and he's kind of throwing out this ridiculous challenge for her, and she's like, why do I have to do this challenge to get like your stamp of approval for me to move up in the company? But essentially he's forcing her to hike Kilimanjaro and like write an article about it, and she's like, you have all of these like travel journalists who would love to do this. I have not trained for this, and she has to do it in like 3 weeks. So she is sent on this crazy journey, and she runs into her sister's ex-boyfriend. They haven't been together in like 10 years and they were not together very long, but she hates this man like with a passion. And you find out that they are hiking Kilimanjaro together. They're on like the same tour group, and so they're around each other constantly. The forced proximity is just so delightful in this book because you're not only like very close to each other, but you're going through this incredibly difficult, highly personal and vulnerable experience, and they're together and they're the only single people on this trip, which is just so funny to me. So they keep getting thrown together. You find out all these little secrets about what happened 10 years ago. You find out things about her and him and what has put them on their path that they are currently on, like each of them. And it's just really interesting. It's a little bit of a dual POV. We've gotten like 2 or 3 chapters from his perspective, but most of it is from Kit's perspective, and I'm having the best time. They're both rich, they're both privileged, and like I'm kind of just having a good time like watching them make fun of each other and bicker and banter, and like she keeps throwing at him that he is like this rich boy, but you're like, girl, you are too. And it's just funny like how they are communicating together. You're like, you can tell that they're attracted to each other, but they won't give into it. So I'm curious as to like how this is all gonna smooth over and how they're gonna get over their issues. I will say we're on like day 6 of the 7 or 8 day hike, and we're only 30%. So I feel like most of this is going to take place outside of this particular hike. So more will happen, which is good because I have a couple of like hang-ups for them getting together on this hike. One being she has a boyfriend, and I'm really against like the cheating trope. I'm not a fan of that, so I'm hoping this doesn't turn into that. But overall, like I'm having a good time. It's a really fast read, which is exactly what I need for this challenge. So far, book number 1 is going really well. I'm hoping to finish this one today, obviously, and I don't know what I'm going to pick tomorrow, but I'm not going to think about that now. I'll give you an update when I have one on this book, but overall, like I'm having the best time, and this is the perfect way to start off this challenge. Okay, I clearly have done a terrible job of vlogging this week. It is the next day, and I did in fact finish my favorite Bad Decision last night by Elizabeth O'Rourke, so I'm right on track. Book 1 done in day 1, and I didn't talk any more about this book after I mentioned it to you guys, so I want to do like a brief update and my thoughts. I was really loving this book, like 50% in, and then I feel like, I don't know, I still really enjoyed this book. So I don't want to give like a bad taste in anyone's mouth by me reviewing this or saying my criticisms of this book, but I do feel like our FMC Kit just needed to like stand on her own 2 legs a little bit more, and I understand like her hardships and her hang-ups with getting with our MMC, what's his name? Miller. With getting with Miller were completely understandable. I just feel like it took her a really long time to figure out like how to make it work and how to get her happily ever after. There were some beautiful moments with herself getting over some things that she needed to get over from her past, as well as with family members. I really loved her dad, which I was not expecting to at the beginning of this book. So there were some really great conversations that I appreciated. I just think it took a little bit too long. And I think that being the biggest issue of why they couldn't be together was just a little bit frustrating, because I feel like it didn't have to be as big as she made it. But that's very nitpicky. I do feel like this book happens very quickly. The first 50% of this book happens in Tanzania when they are climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, and that part I loved. The forced proximity, kind of the adventure that we get from them being somewhere different, somewhere new, having this like crazy adventure together, gave us some tension that I really enjoyed, and like the banter back and forth. I think the funny thing to me is like they really hadn't been around each other in 10 years, and the way that they acted or the way that they talked about each other in their inner monologue felt like they had seen each other and been around each other a lot more than they had. And so I feel like it was kind of heightened, like their attraction, the slow burn, kind of the buildup felt heightened more so than I would have expected for them to just have spent like a summer around each other 10 years ago. So that felt a little bit far-fetched, but like overall, I had a great time reading this. I think if you enjoy a adventure romance, like something that doesn't necessarily take place in like one city or a small town, but like doing something a little bit different, a little bit crazier, kind of having that be it like a side character, if that makes sense. I think you would probably really enjoy this because they do a few things that are a little bit different from a traditional like New York City romance book. So I had a good time reading this book. I obviously read it very quickly. I'm probably going to give this like 3.5 stars. And I realized that book 2 in this series is already out. It came out a month or 2 ago. So I might be reading that in this vlog as well because I kind of want to know what's going on between those 2 characters, and I'm hoping to get like a glimpse of our other 2 characters. I really did love Kit and Miller together. I love them both as characters. I think I just like would have done things a little bit different if it was my story to write, but it's not my story to write, so I don't want to be too like critical. So those are my overall thoughts. Today's book is Rookie Season by Leah Bruner. I think that's the author. I think there are 2 authors actually, and I'm curious as to like, this is dual POV. I do have the audiobook because I have some things I need to get done today, so having the audiobook is going to be helpful for me to get through this book. But I wonder if like each author wrote a different POV. That would be interesting to figure out. I'm going to look into that. But this is a hockey romance, and I believe it's also forced proximity. Our MMC is in his rookie year in the NHL, and he ends up having a female roommate through like his other roommate knowing someone, and she needs a place to live. She has recently moved to the city, and she knows the owner of the loft that our MMC is currently living in, and he offers her a room. So they kind of get to be roomies, and I think there's some other connections. I'm not quite sure all of the details, but I think this is a little bit more of like a grumpy sunshine. I mean, I think our NHL player is just like very focused on hockey, doesn't want any distractions, and she's obviously going to become a distraction, or he thinks she's going to be a distraction for him. And I think they're going to be really good together at the end. I'm very excited about this one. I've heard really good things, so I'm hoping that this will be a win for me as well. I think this one is around 330-ish pages. The audiobook is less than 9 hours, so I'm hoping to get through this one pretty quickly, but fingers crossed that I can read it. I don't know. The Dodgers are playing in the NLCS tonight. It's game 1, so we'll obviously have that on the TV, and you know, we've got some other things going on. So hopefully I can get through this one pretty quickly. I hope it's going to be a quick read. And hopefully I will be a better vlogger on this book for day 2 than I was on day 1. This scene is giving the toothbrushing scene from Bring It On to mind. I'm so here for that. That scene is so fun. Okay, I am now 35% into this book, and I want to give some brief thoughts and a better synopsis than I did earlier. So yes, our MMC Noah is in his first year in the NHL, and surprise, his brother-in-law is the coach, which I find to be so funny. And Allie is our FMC. She is a dancer, and more specifically a dance instructor. She has recently moved to the city, and she is the dance teacher of Noah's niece, which is essentially how they meet, and it does not go over well, so they really get off on the wrong foot. But then it turns out that Allie knows the guy who Noah is rooming with and who owns the loft that Noah lives in, and he has rented out a room to Allie as well. And so they end up being roommates and kind of in vicinity of each other because of the dancing and the house situation, obviously. But Noah off the bat, like, does not, I don't want to say doesn't like her, he just is not looking for any sort of distraction. He really wants to be focused on hockey and do well in his rookie year. And not that Allie is like making herself a distraction. I think he just like automatically assumes she will be because she's female. And I think he's just like, he kind of can't stop thinking about her, which I think is so cute. And Allie has really been through a lot in the recent past, and you kind of get into that a little bit, like why she's moving to the city and why she left school to begin with and kind of start fresh. So you get to know a little bit of that, and I think that's going to be an interesting piece of their relationship. Like Allie is very hesitant. Noah is also very hesitant because not only is he like really into hockey, but his past as well, like his past grief and hurts. So they're both dealing with some stuff from their past and kind of holding them back from, I don't know, building great connections or getting into some sort of relationship, whatever sort of relationship they're going to have in this book. But I feel like the writing is really fun. They kind of keep catching each other in these moments, like ending up in the same place at the same time and being forced to be together, which is where this forced proximity is coming in. And I did not realize that this was also a forced proximity like the last one. So we're kind of like dealing with a similar topic or trope, I should say, in the last two books, which is kind of fun. And I think it's funny, Allie has a cat named Harry, which is Harry Styles, because she loves Harry Styles. And I just think like the reference keeps coming up, like Harry the cat or Harry the person. So that's been kind of like a fun little joke throughout the book. And I don't know, it's really cute, it's really fun. I do think this is closed door, so I don't think we're gonna get much spice in this book, but I definitely feel like the tension is good, and there's been a couple of moments where they have, I don't know, been close in proximity, but also in like emotional vulnerability, and it's opening the door for like some more romantic moments. So I'm just having fun with it, which is exactly what I want during this challenge. Like I want books that I'm having fun with. I want books that I can't stop reading. I want books that like suck me in and hook me and just like have me giggling and having a good time for the whole day, because I kind of need that in this challenge. So overall, having a good time. Hopefully I can update you again before I finish this book, unlike yesterday. So we're gonna keep reading now. I do have lots of stuff to do very shortly and probably won't read again till tonight. So I'm a little bit of a bind. This one might take a little bit longer than I assumed, and I hope that it doesn't keep me up too late tonight, but we shall see. So surprise, I'm a big fat liar, and I did not update you on rookie season last night, but I did finish it. I finished it much later than I anticipated. I don't know what happened, and this has happened every day of this challenge so far. So I guess we're on day 3, and it's happened again today, where I get like almost 50% midway through the day, and then I don't read again until like 9 p.m. So that happened again yesterday. I ended up getting to 50% at like 2 o'clock, and then I didn't read anything else until like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I read 50 or 60% last night, and I didn't update you because I was the only one awake in the house, and it was dark, and I just didn't feel like it. I was like, let's just finish this book and go to bed. So I did really have a good time reading it. It's a very sweet hockey romance. It is not even closed door. It's like kissing only, and it's like just really, really sweet. I think our two main characters are perfect for each other. I do feel like the romance happens quite quickly. I mean, the book is short, right? It's just at about like 325 pages. So it kind of has to happen quickly, but it did feel like they went from like not liking each other or like just not really getting along to like having feelings for each other quite quickly. I do feel like that could have been like spread out just a little bit, but there was no third act breakup. I feel like the third act conflict made a lot of sense, like they had set it up from the beginning, so I kind of like understood where it was going and why it was happening. Nothing felt like totally out of left field. So I thought it was like a very sweet romance. I think I'm gonna give it like 3.5 stars. Like, it wasn't an all-time favorite, but I had a really great time reading it, and for me, a 3.5 stars is a good rating for that. So I think if you're looking for a hockey romance that is more on the sweeter side, like less spice, like no spice, but you really like a hockey romance, I would highly recommend this. This is Rookie Season, and I do think this is like book 1 in a series, and I don't know if any of their books are out yet. I have to check that out because I definitely feel like I want to know a couple other characters. So our 2 main characters are living in the same loft, right? And they have 2 other roommates that are hockey players. And I want to know their stories. Like, who do they end up with? What are their romances? What are their backstories? Like, I want to know their past. And like, I don't know, I think she did a really good job. I think it's a dual author. I think they did a really great job at setting up the rest of the world and like the other stories in this world. So I'm really intrigued by those characters. So I definitely think I'll read this author duo in the future. And then today I ended up picking The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, and this was probably a bad choice because this book starts off with the death of a parent of our main character. So it's very like real, it's very raw, it's very in the moment, like her grief is happening on page in real time. And I don't know, that's just not quite the best timing for me personally for my own trigger warnings, but you know, we're getting through it and I'm loving it. I'm loving Ashley Poston's writing. I've always loved her writing. The FMC is a ghostwriter for a very popular, very prolific romance author, but she no longer believes in romance, so she cannot finish her current manuscript, which is really interesting. But as I said, her father passes away and she has to go home very quickly, and she can also see ghosts. Her family like runs the local funeral home, and her father are the only ones who can see ghosts. But it's also been like problematic for her in her life and like her relationship with this town and with her family that she can see ghosts. But she ends up seeing the ghost of her editor, and she's like, wait, what happened? Why are you a ghost? Why are you dead? And she's trying to figure out why he's there, why he's like essentially haunting her, and what she needs to do to like help him. Or are they going to help each other figure something out? I don't know. I have a couple of theories about what's going on, and I'm hoping I'm right. But like overall, I'm having the best time reading this book. I don't want to put it down. Wow. See, I'm not even halfway and it's already 6 p.m. So I need to get a move on. But I do think once I like sit down and get through this, it's a really easy read. So I just need to sit down tonight with nothing on the TV and just like get this read. But so far, having the best time. Everyone said I would love this book, and I don't know why I was hesitant. Maybe because he's a ghost, but like I am loving this book. I'm having the best time. Why don't I listen to people? So we're gonna read this. Will I update you tonight? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. If not, I'll see you in the morning. Good morning, my friends. I have some updates for you. I'm very tired and I think I need to be better at time management. I feel like I talked about this yesterday. I cannot remember, but I just need to be better about time management for this challenge because I feel like I'm leaving a lot of reading to the nighttime. And like, I finished this book before 11 p.m. last night, so I shouldn't be as tired as I am, but I feel like the act of reading as much as I can in one day, like of a specific book, is like making my brain more tired, and maybe that's why I'm so tired. But I am kind of struggling a little bit, and I do feel like this happens every time I do this challenge. I feel like maybe more so this time than it has in the past, and I don't know if that's because like this book was particularly like emotionally draining for me, or just my lifestyle at the current stage that I am in is very different than the past times I've done this challenge. So there could be a few reasons for that. I also just like could not be sleeping that well. So there's a lot of different factors, but I am quite tired today. Let's quickly talk about the plans for today. Let's talk about the book I finished yesterday and kind of how I'm feeling about this challenge as a whole. I did read The Dead Romantics yesterday. I absolutely love this book. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. And let's talk about why I'm giving it 4.5 stars. This book was incredible. I love Ashley Poston's writing. Like, I love everything that I've read by her. I really enjoy her writing. There are a couple of books by her that I still have not read. I haven't read A Novel Love Story, and I haven't read Sounds Like Love. And I feel like I haven't heard like the highest praise about those books for some reason. I don't know, like I just haven't been drawn to the concepts of them, but this one is so good. The 7 Year Slip is a 5-star book for me. I think she just like the way that she writes, it's very similar to Emily Henry, and just the way that they choose the most perfect words for a sentence to create like this atmosphere and this just experience of reading that makes me feel like I'm there, makes me feel like I'm a part of the story, makes me feel like I know these characters like they're actual people in my life. And I just appreciate that type of writing so much, and it really strikes me. I also feel like the books by Ashley Poston that I love deal with grief. I love books that deal with grief because I think it's where I feel seen the most, having been through very similar situations to Florence, our FMC in this book. So like her experiences throughout the week of this book, this takes place only over a week, and then the last few chapters take place like 3 months later, I want to say. But it's such an emotionally charged week and experience that Florence is having that it feels like forever. And if you've been through a loss like Florence has, then you kind of can understand why that might be. And I don't know, I found everything that she was feeling so real. I found it very relatable, and I don't know, I could just like feel her pain and her hurt, but also the desire to like take care of other people. So real and like reassuring, but also kind of like a knife to the gut, because I have been there. So I feel like it kind of brought up maybe some feelings that I didn't necessarily want to bring up this week, but that's fine. I appreciated it nonetheless. I also, the concept of our MMC being a ghost is so funny to me. There were a few theories I had in this book, and they were correct. And I'm so glad that they were correct. But just the concept of like her talking to a ghost, one, is so fun, on top of like the heaviness of the grief and like her going back to her small town that she essentially like ran away from and hasn't been back in 10 years. So like there's some heaviness there that she has to deal with, but also like she's falling for a ghost. So I think like the juxtaposition was really nice. Like I think it was necessary and kind of like a little bit outlandish, but also like, yeah, this tracks for you. This is fun. I absolutely loved Ben. I thought his energy was so fun. I thought his balance to Florence was so well done. He is like this buttoned up, very organized type A character, and Florence is kind of a mess for very specific, obvious reasons. Like it's okay that she's a mess, but also her life is just kind of messy. Like she likes it that way, and that's where she thrives. And so both of them being like a type A, type B was just, it worked for me. So I really, really enjoyed this. I do feel like the ending, and I don't want to spoil anything here, the ending, I had some questions and some issues with, very small, minor. If you've read this book, you might understand my qualms, but like I don't love the way that everything played out. And I feel like there were a couple of things that were left unanswered that I just wanted like just a cute little bow on top, and I didn't get that. So that's why this is a 4.5 star instead of a 5 star. But overall, highly recommend. If you don't want to read books about grief or death of a parent, do not read this book. But if that is not a trigger warning for you, or you also want to read about that, like this would be a fantastic book. I feel like I should do a book recommendations video on just like books that talk about grief, because I love them, and maybe other people like them too and want to cry, because I did cry in this book. Sometimes because I was sad and sometimes because I was happy, and I love when I get that in a book. So highly recommend The Dead Romantics. This was also a very like fast read because I couldn't put it down. Once I got into it, I was like really into it, and it was a very quick read. Now, today I am kind of doing a tandem read, and I don't love doing this on the 7 and 7 challenge because I do kind of like to read one book a day. Like those are like my rules for this challenge, but I feel like in order to get through everything I need to get through today, like in my normal life, I need to pick up an audiobook, one that I can maybe read over 2 days. And so I decided to pick up Exit Lane by Erica Vernick. I think that's the name. Erica Vernick, yeah. This is a very short book. It's by like the 831, I don't remember the name of the imprint, 831 HQ Stories, maybe? Some sort of variation of that name is the name of this imprint, but they have these like really cool covers, and I've kind of been intrigued by this imprint and the love stories that they are putting out. This is not like, I don't know if this is technically a romance or if it's a love story, but essentially it's giving When Harry Met Sally vibes. Our 2 main characters have grown up in Iowa. They went to college there, and they are now both moving to New York. They have a mutual connection that kind of puts them together on this drive. Our MMC is driving our FMC as a favor to New York, where they're going to start their lives. Our MMC is going to NYU Law, I think, and our FMC, I'm not sure what she's doing when she gets to New York. That has not been determined as of right now, but I definitely think there's going to be some tension on the drive. But I also feel like this might follow them like several years in their New York experience, and like I'm very curious as like, will they stay in New York? Will they move back to Iowa? He is like the perfect Midwestern boy. He wants to like go to law school and then move back to Iowa and live next door to his best friend and like have the family and the kids and coach soccer, and like that's his life. And our FMC, Marin, wants nothing to do with Iowa. She's trying to get out. She wants a new experience. She wants a completely different life, mostly because she's kind of running away from her, I don't want to say childhood, but her father did pass away when she was in high school, and I think she's just trying to like get out and do something completely new and different and like not be around those memories anymore. Like she just needs to get away and have a fresh start. So I don't know how this is all gonna play out. I'm like 10% into this. I was running some errands this morning and kind of started this one while I was running around. But overall, like I do love the writing. It's a little bit more, I don't want to say highbrow because that sounds really condescending, but it's definitely not like a rom-com. It's more of a love story, I believe. It's more like lit fic with a romance, if that makes any sense. I hope that this is not coming across in a weird way, but that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this book. So as I have like things to do around the house and some errands to run, I will be listening to this on audio probably today and tomorrow, and hopefully I can finish it tomorrow. It's very short. It's less than 6 hours on audio, so I think this will be a pretty quick read for me, which I kind of need to like get going a little bit, because today's physical book is quite long, but it's also a YA, so I feel like it'll be an easy read. This is Meet Me Under the Lights. I have this both on my Kindle and a physical book. This is an ARC. It doesn't come out till March. Thank you so much to the publisher for sending me this. I'm very excited to read this. I want to pick it up this month because it's a baseball romance, and as you know, the Dodgers are currently in postseason baseball. So I wanted to read this while we were still playing baseball. I feel like this is the best time to read this book before it comes out, because by the time it comes out, baseball will not have quite started yet. So I don't know, I've been itching to pick it up and it's calling to me. So we're going to read this book today. This is, as I said, quite long. It is 378 pages, which is longer than I typically choose. Did you hear that? That's my stomach. I have to go eat breakfast. This is longer than I typically choose for the 7 and 7, but as I said, it is a YA, so I think it'll read faster, and like this font is huge. So I feel like I'm gonna breeze right through this book. If I can get half of this and half of my audio done, then I can do half of my audio and half of this again tomorrow. But I'm just gonna try to read as much as I can of this book. Like, I'm not gonna stop halfway if I have time. I'm gonna try to finish this today. That's the goal. So maybe I can get a little bit ahead would be ideal, because tomorrow my kid has like a shorter day in school, so I have less time. Also, the Dodgers game is back on tomorrow and we don't have a Dodgers game tonight, so like I might have a little bit extra time to read. So there's just like a lot of factors that go into my thought process here. I need to go eat some breakfast because my stomach is calling to me. I also was working on my 7 and 7 book spread in my book journal today. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I actually already had the sticker in this book for some reason, so I just wrote around it, but it's fine. I feel like I should be doing this for like every book challenge I do, or maybe every book I read. Should this be something that I adopt for the books that I read in the future? This is getting a little bit into a like end of year talk, but like I really want to focus on quality over quantity in 2026. I'm not going to set like a big reading goal for my year, but I do want to do more like journaling style in my book journal, and just like, I don't know, be more aware of the books that I'm reading. I say this as I'm reading 7 books in 1 week, but like choosing books that I actually want to read, and not like, oh, everyone's talking about this book, maybe I should pick it up. Because I think that usually happens with books that I don't think I'm going to like, and then I really end up not liking them, and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, if I don't think I'm going to like a book, don't try to read it, like just because everyone else is reading it. So really being like more conscientious about the books that I choose to pick up, and being like a little bit more picky in my reading, because I know what I like. I'm 38 years old. Like, I know the books that I like. I know what I'm going to want to read and what I'm actually going to enjoy reading. So I feel like journaling about each book, and maybe like putting quotes in here that I love from books. Like I did that with The Dead Romantics down here. I just wrote a couple of quotes that I really loved from the book, and I feel like I like having that in a journal. Like, that should be what my journal is. And yeah, so I've just been thinking about that process this week, and like kind of thinking about 2026 reading. That was a really long tangent. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go read now. I'm gonna go eat breakfast. I'm gonna go read, and hopefully we can get quite a bit into this book. I'll give you an update. It is early this morning. It's not even 10 yet. Oh no, it's 10:45. Shoot. Okay, we gotta get to reading. We gotta go. Okay, what? Me updating you twice in the same day in this vlog? Unheard of. I have made it almost halfway through Meet Me Under the Lights. This is definitely like a YA baseball romance. It takes place in a small town during the summer. Our FMC, her family is like kind of known as like the rich family in town. They own the baseball stadium, and her dad is the coach of like the summer baseball team in their small town. And she is really into theater. She runs like the tech team of the summer theater program, so that's kind of like her niche. But she also very much like knows baseball, knows the sport, and knows like what happens in the summer because of her family. And our MMC, what is his name? I cannot remember right now off the top of my head. I'll remember later. He is the grandson of like the rival family in town. They are farmers. They used to own the baseball stadium, and that has like since fallen apart. But our MMC and FMC knew each other growing up. He used to live in town, and when everything kind of fell apart, his family moved away, and they are not supposed to be speaking. Like, that's how big the rivalry between the families are. It's like Romeo and Juliet, which is hilarious because that is the play that her theater is putting on this summer, and he is the star pitcher of the rival baseball team, and there's just some interesting dynamics between the two of them. They obviously are attracted to each other. They kind of have this like rivals to lovers vibe going on, but almost like also forbidden love because they obviously cannot be together or seen in public together because word will get back to their families, and that's a big no-no. So there's just like some good tension. There's some good like secret moments that I'm enjoying. It's definitely YA, and not like in a Lynn Painter YA way. I feel like Lynn Painter writes more like mature YA. This is definitely like YA. Like I would give this to a young high school student, and I think a young high school student would actually really love this book. So it's I mean, I say that now, I'm only halfway, so if something changes I will obviously let you know, but it's really fun to read. I obviously love baseball, so like that part of it is really interesting, and I'm just like having some fun, which is great. I like having fun in this challenge. My other book that I'm reading right now, Exit Lane, is also very good. I have only read like maybe 5% more of this one, but we have gotten a time jump, so we're 3 years in the future now. So I'm wondering how our two main characters are going to run into each other again somewhere in New York. I'm assuming in the city. They have since made it to New York and said their goodbyes, and she does not want to see him again in her life. So we'll see how like the interactions keep coming around. I mean, it's said to be like a modern day When Harry Met Sally, so I'm wondering how close to the actual movie this book will be. And I don't know, I'm feeling like maybe I should watch When Harry Met Sally this week because it's giving me the vibes. It's giving me, I don't know, it's giving me some feelings, and that's one of my favorite movies. So maybe we will be watching When Harry Met Sally as well, although it is my husband's turn to pick the movie for movie night this week, and he's gonna pick Mission Impossible 2. I absolutely know it. So I might have to watch that one on my own time. But so far, today's going really well in the reading department. I'm loving the tropes that we have going on, and I'm just like having a good time. And this challenge is so much easier when I'm enjoying and having a good time reading the books. Okay, my friends, we are on day 5 of our 7 in 7 day challenge. I did end up finishing Meet Me Under the Lights last night, surprisingly, and I will talk more about that book later. I'm out running errands right now, and I'm listening to my audiobook, so I want to give like a brief catch up on how I feel about Exit Lane. This book is making me crazy, and like I'm really loving it, but like each decision that these characters make makes sense for their characters. Like it's very true to their character's nature to make the decisions they're making, but I just want to shake them. Like, y'all, like, get it together. Figure it out so you can be together. And it's really frustrating as a reader to see them like struggle through making these decisions because of the things that have happened in their life. And I just want them to be happy. Like, I want them to enjoy good things. I want them to like be able to say that like I deserve good things and I'm gonna go after what I want, and they just can't seem to do that, and it's just incredibly frustrating. I am like 80% through this book. I will probably finish it very shortly. I went for a long walk this morning. I had to run to the store and get some essentials like toothpaste. And then I went to this cutie little children's like consignment shop near my house and bought a couple of things for my kid. I'm very excited about them. I'm gonna hit up another thrift store right now because I have a couple of things on my mind that I'm looking for. So I need to start looking for them for our trip to Europe in like a month, a little over a month. So I need to start looking like a few times a week now so I can kind of start finding those things. So I'm gonna pop over there. I might listen to the audiobook because I'm so close to finishing while I'm shopping. I feel like that's kind of like a really therapeutic experience for me, thrift shopping while listening to an audiobook. It's honestly one of like my favorite solo things to do. So if I find anything, I'll show you what I find, but I just wanted to give like my brief thoughts on this book. I am really enjoying it. I promise I am, but it's just making me crazy. If you're a fan of normal people, this book might be for you. So if that tells you anything about this book, there you go. Is several hours later. We have much to talk about. We've got to talk books. We've got to talk thrift haul. Let's get to it. I finished Meet Me Under the Lights, as I mentioned earlier today, and I thought this was so cute. This was like a solid 3-star for me. I do think if I was a teenager, like I would have absolutely loved this book. This is definitely more YA audience focused, which is totally fine. I am obviously not a young adult, but I think for what this was very cute. It is clean. There's like kissing only. If you're looking for a book for a young adult, it's a sports romance. We've got a little rivalry going on, a little bit of like Romeo and Juliet-esque vibes. There's a couple of things that happened that really surprised me in this book, like in the best way possible. So I'm glad it kept me on my toes, like it kept me engaged. I was really interested in these families, in their friendships in the town, in like how they were going to figure out how to be together. And I thought it was super cute. So I'm really glad I read this. And I also did finish Exit Lane by Erica Verink, I think is how you say her last name. And I feel like this is a book that I'm going to rate 4 stars. I want to say 4 stars. I do feel like this is a book that I'm going to say like is not a favorite, but I'm going to think about it forever. Like it's going to just like niggle my mind all the time. It's definitely for fans of Normal People by Sally Rooney, like the way that story is told and the relationship between our 2 main characters gives Normal People vibes to me. I will say I wanted to like shake our main character sometimes with the decisions that they were making, and I think I mentioned this earlier, but it was definitely on brand for them. Like it was part of their character, so I understand why. I thought the author did a great job at like sticking to the characters and like who they were at their core and why they were choosing to do what they were doing. That doesn't mean I have to agree with it, but I do feel like for the sake of the book, I thought that it was written very well. It is more of a novella style. I think this book is like 225-ish pages, and I listened to it, so it was only about 6 hours. And I think if you're looking for like a quick, snappy, very intelligent romance, I would pick this up. And it's not like a cutesy rom-com. It's definitely more like tug at your heartstrings, like a little bit more emotional, but not because of like trauma in their life or anything outside of their relationship. It's just kind of like they just can't seem to get on the same page, and that's really frustrating as a reader. So if you like romances like that, I would definitely pick this up. I definitely think I'm going to be thinking about it for a long time after I've read it, and I love books like that kind of stick with you, even if you think like, oh, I'm like totally obsessed, this is a 6-star book for me or whatever. But like I definitely think that I'll be thinking about these 2 characters and this particular story for a long time. So I'm really glad I ended up picking it up, and I'm definitely going to check out more books in this imprint because the 831 stories, they have like these really cool covers, and I feel like if more are written like this, I'm probably really going to enjoy them. So I'm definitely going to check out more from this imprint, and I want to tell you what I'm going to pick up next, but I also want to show you my little haul. I ended up getting this cutie cream Banana Republic sweater. It was $7. So cute. I'm really happy with it. A cream sweater was on my fall list of things to add to my wardrobe. I have like a list of like, I don't know, 8 things that I wanted to buy for the fall, and I found 2 of those 8 things today. They're not like essential purchases, they're just things that I would love to add to my wardrobe as part of like my capsule wardrobe for the fall. I'll keep searching for them and see if I can find them at another thrift store at another time. It's not like a necessity, but I ended up also getting some like faded black jeans. This type of denim was on my list, like a straight leg faded black denim. So I'm really happy with those as well. These were $9. So I'm glad I didn't end up buying them full price at the store. We already have too many clothes on this planet. So I'm trying to thrift a little bit more and buy things secondhand for both my home, for myself, for my kid, for my family, and just kind of like utilize what we already have and what has already been created and made on this planet. So that's my little haul for you guys. Today, it's almost 4 o'clock. So I did finish a book for today. I finished 5 books. Today is day 5. So I feel like I am on track, but I do want to pick up a couple of books. I have 1 audio and 1 ebook left that I'm hoping to read. So that's a really good balance, as I found for the last couple of days, to have an audiobook and a eyeball book. So I'm going to be listening to The Blonde Who Came In From the Cold. This is by Ali Carter. And this is the 2nd book in the Blonde Identity series, and I believe that it follows the twin from the Blonde Identity, which is very exciting. So I have this both on audio and ebook, so I'm going to start with the audio, and hopefully I can get a little bit into that today. I love Ali Carter's writing. I think her mystery, like thriller spy books are so fun. Like, they're just such a fun time. So I'm really excited about this one. I've kind of been holding on to it, like waiting to read it, and now's the time to read it. So I'm very excited to pick this one up. And I'm also going to be reading Falling Like Leaves by Misty Wilson. I think that's her name. This is a YA fall romance. It looks very cozy and cute, and I think I'm really going to enjoy this one as well. I have this one on my Kindle as well, so I've got an eyeball book and an audiobook, and hopefully I can finish those in the next 2.5 days to finish out this challenge. I don't think I'm going to finish early just because I haven't started another book today. If I finish early, I'm not going to pick up an 8th book. I'm just going to end this vlog when I finish these 7 books, but that would be insane if I finish this challenge a day early. That would be like the first time this ever happened. So we'll see if that does. Chelsea here. As I was working on this vlog and getting it up for you guys, I realized that I never gave my thoughts on the final 2 books that I read in this challenge. So I thought I'd quickly do that because I don't want to leave you hanging, and I feel like I need to have like a full complete picture of the 7 books that I read in the 7 and 7 week. First up, I read The Blonde Who Came In From the Cold. This is by Ali Carter, and this is a like spy romance. Our 2 main characters are both in the CIA, they are both spies, and they continually get set up together to be partners in the field, and you kind of follow their journey of their relationship over 10 years time. We're in the current timeline, and then you jump back like 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, if that makes sense. So you kind of get a complete picture of their relationship and how they like work together as partners and how they kind of fell in love and what happened and why they are in the spot they're in now, like on the run, trying to find the person who is out to get them, who wants to see them dead, and they kind of have to like come together and work together again. And it was so fun. I think I had just as much fun as I did reading The Blonde Identity. I just think Ali Carter's like thriller, spy, murder mystery romances are just a good time. Like if you're looking for something fast-paced, if you're looking for something that's witty and will keep you on your toes and it has a little bit of a romance that'll get you swooning, I highly recommend picking up Ali Carter's adult work. Outside of The Blonde Identity and The Blonde Who Came In From the Cold, she also has The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year, which is a delight to read at the holidays. If you're looking for something like that, please read this book. I just had the best time reading this, and I ended up giving this this book 4 stars. I think that I wish it was longer because I wanted more. Like I wanted to be with these characters and in this world for as long as possible. And that's probably my biggest complaint, is that I wish it was longer. I wanted more. And I hope she decides to write more books like this in the future. And then finally, I read Falling Like Leaves by Misty Wilson, and I gave this book 3 stars. This is a YA fall romance. It is like Stars Hollow, quintessential small town fall romance. I really liked the romance in this book. I loved the practical magic elements we got in this book. I also love Gilmore Girls, so like the Stars Hollow town vibes was just really fun to read, and it was the perfect time to read this book in the fall. Like, I think if you're thinking about reading this book, wait until next fall to read it because it absolutely needs to be read in the autumn season. I do think the FMC got on my nerves a little bit. She was so gung-ho on like, this is what my future needs to look like, and my current life does not look like that. She gets a little bit derailed off her plan when her mother moves her to the small town that she's from, and she's like, I need to get back to New York. I need to get back to my plan. I need to get back to like applying for colleges, and this is my dream, and this is what I'm doing. But like, is it really her dream? And like, why is she so determined to get to this spot in her life? And like, you kind of get to unpack it and understand why based on her childhood and based on her parent dynamics. But I think it went on like a little bit too long for me. Like I needed to see a little bit of growth or like shift in her mind earlier. I feel like it gets almost to the very end of the book before she's like, oh, what do I really want? And I'm just kind of like, I wish I had seen more of that progress throughout the book. And it made me like dislike her a little bit, but I loved the MMC. He was perfect for her and just like such a fun character, like the guy that you want the girl to fall for in high school. Like he was it, and it was just like, it was a good time. It was fun. But I think overall, like the FMC annoyed me enough for me to like not enjoy it as much as I wanted to, if that makes sense. So there's my wrap on 7 books in 7 days. I did in fact read 7 books in 7 days. I love this challenge, and I definitely think I'll be doing this again sooner than next October. So if you are interested in joining me in my next 7 in 7 reading challenge, go ahead and follow me on Instagram because that's where I do my announcements for future reading challenges such as this. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and hopefully I will catch you in the next one soon.